All right, guys, we made it to Friday. Today's activity, super straightforward. I just wanted to make sure that you heard it from me and that I could explain it well enough to where you could get it done. All right, so let's start with your bell ringer for today. Water seeps into the ground during the stage called blank. Well, when water seeps down into the ground, it is infiltrating the ground, so that stage is called infiltration. When water flows off of surfaces, that's called runoff. It's literally in the name. If it flows off the surface, it's runoff. Okay? That typically happens when your ground can't hold any more water. It can't infiltrate anymore, so it flows off the surface. All right. Checklist items. We're going to start a water cycle story today, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But the first thing is you guys need to make sure that your Edpuzzle's done because that's due today. And then you need to make sure that your water cycle vocab is ready by Tuesday because that's also when you're having your quiz. All right. So here's what you're doing today. You are going to create an interesting story about a raindrop traveling through the water cycle. Okay. You're going to correctly identify the parts of the water cycle as your raindrop goes on its journey. So you're going to use Google Slides to do this. So you're going to open up Google Slides and you're going to create a story. And you have to incorporate each of the stages that are bulleted right here. Okay. And your raindrop can travel through the cycle as many times as it needs to where you can get each stage of the water cycle represented in your story. So you're going to do an 8-slide long presentation. Each slide has to have at least 4 sentences on it. Okay, so it's essentially a paragraph per slide, as well as a picture, just like a book. When you read a book, it has a couple of sentences on a page with a picture, or typical picture books do. Okay, so that's what we're going for, at least 4 sentences with a picture. Whenever you describe a stage of the water cycle, you need to bold it and underline it. Okay, so this little checklist item right here is to help you make sure you did everything correctly. At least 8 slides. Each stage is in bold and underlined. A picture on every slide, 4 sentences on every slide. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I just wrote one up really quick to pretend to have an example to show you. So my water droplet's name is Joe, and I've titled my story Joe's Journey. All right. So here's my first content slide. You see I have a picture, and I clearly have at least 4 sentences. You see something bold and underlined? That's because that's the stage of the water cycle I'm describing. So mine says, once upon a time, there was a raindrop named Joe. Joe loved spending his winters at the beach. He was excited for summertime because this was his first summer at the beach. Unfortunately for Joe, along with summer came the heat from the sun. It was a nice day, the first hot one of the season, and Joe was floating in the ocean when all of a sudden he started feeling weak. Little by little, Joe realized that parts of him were disappearing. Before he knew it, he was invisible and floating up into the air. This must be evaporation, Joe thought to himself as he drifted up into the sky. Okay, so see here, I've set the stage. We got a little evaporation happening. I bolded, I underlined. Here's my picture. So if you guys need help with pictures, the way I did my picture was I just Googled the beach, went to images and copied and pasted it in, since that's the setting of my story. He's at the beach, right? To get this cute little water cycle guy, all I did was go into Google and type cartoon raindrop. Okay, so there's happy ones, there's dancing ones, there's this one, I don't really know what he is. But I chose one, that guy, that looked a little scared, right? He's like, what's happening? So I used that guy right there and copied and pasted him over right here. Okay, so then continue on with my story. I would add another slide. I would talk about what happened next to poor Joe who evaporated up into the sky. You can make it as funny as you want as long as you are correctly identifying the stages of the water cycle he's going through or whatever your water drop is going through, then that's fine. Okay, so you need to do this assignment all day today, and then you'll have all day on Monday to get it done. Okay, so you have got to get it done within the 2 days. If you find after today that you think this is going to take a little bit longer than 2 45-minute class periods for you, then you might need to work on this a little over the weekend so that you're not behind. All right, because this is going to be expected to be turned in at the end of class on Monday. So anybody that has any questions, feel free to email me and I will help you out as best as I can.